Hello everyone and welcome to the Cafe Röntgen Journal Watch, where we discuss certain important or interesting radiology articles. This time we're going to discuss two articles which throw light on the vexed debate between structured and free text reporting and actually looks at what the referring physicians, the customers so to speak, want. And these are articles which are published in the AJR last year and in the Journal of American College of Radiology in 2017. Essentially, right now there's a big debate between the radiologists regards structured reporting versus free text reporting. What are the pros and cons of each? And sometimes in the din of the debate, the voice of the customer is lost. What do the referring physicians, what do the patients want? What type of reporting do they prefer? And this is the first article that actually looked at that. The authors sent a survey to around 3,600 physicians, out of which around 570 responded to the survey. This included general practitioners as well as physicians in private hospitals. And essentially, what they did in the survey was give four different formats of reports. So there was the free text report, there was a structured report, there was a tabulated form of report, and there was a report with images within it. And then a lot of questions were asked to the respondents. Most of the questions had answers which involved a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. In a sense, 1 and 2 would be counted as negative, 4 and 5 would be positive, while 3 was a neutral answer to the question. So what did this survey find? Firstly, which portions of the report are read how often? And I thought this was interesting. Obviously, the technique, as expected, was not read usually by most referring physicians. The entire report, the organ section, and certainly the summary or the impression was read by almost everyone in detail. But the most commonly read actually was the recommendations, and this was something I found a little surprising, but certainly something to remember. Um, how many people wanted normal structures to be mentioned? Majority, around half the referring physicians wanted normal structures to be mentioned as normal, while only around 30% did not really think that it mattered to say that the gallbladder is normal or the kidneys are normal. Um, there was a preference for having an image provided for positive findings, and clearly a preference for having a radiologist recommendation at the end of the report. Another interesting thing was many people wanted a confidence level for the radiologist's finding. So whether the radiologist was very confident about the finding or whether they were equivocal about the finding. And obviously, majority of the respondents wanted a differential diagnosis in the impression, but also interestingly also wanted additional findings to be listed. For example, if an incidental gallstone is present, around 90% of the respondents thought it was important to list this in the impression. What about the overall main debate, structured versus free text? And actually, there was no debate. So, structured text was favored by pretty much everyone, the mean of 7.3 compared to free text, which had a mean of 4.3. Um, Images were something most respondents wanted in the reports, and tabulated reports, the mean was around half. So, half of them liked it, half of them did not. Perhaps it is useful for specific instances, like, for example, an aortic aneurysm reporting. Um, this was the other article from the Journal of American College of Radiology. A similar survey, but sent only to one academic institute. Around 218 of the 1,000 people responded to the survey. This included actually what they call novice respondents, which are medical students and PGY1 residents or interns, basically. So remember, this is the American Institute. The first year of residency is internship, followed by 4 years of pure radiology residency. So the intermediate group had post PGY 2 to 4 residents as well as physician assistants and nurse practitioners, while the advanced group of respondents was PGY 5 fellows and faculty. What I liked about this survey actually, and was that the impression was the same actually. If you read the impression, pretty much essentially the same across both the types of reports provided. This was a structured report and this was a free text report, and again the language was pretty much the same. But when you compare readability of the reports, be it a novice, be it an intermediate, or be it an advanced respondent, the structured report was found more readable compared to the prose report, while a few found them to be equal. Um, this I thought was a little surprising. When you compare clinical utility of the reports, again, structured reports fared better. Um, but I think there was many more respondents who thought that structured and free text were equivalent. I found this surprising that structure was better because the impression was essentially the same across both the formats provided in the survey. So maybe there's a bias there, but this is what was obtained in this particular survey. But what is clear in both of these, as well as multiple other articles published, is that when it comes to the customer, the referring physician, they certainly prefer structured reports, at least in the West. So remember, all these surveys published have been performed in the West, in Europe, or in America. But that is what is the preference over there clearly. Images do enhance the report, and many physicians like to have the images to see exactly what the abnormality is. And I think even in India, for example, many people are doing that. They're printing the relevant images, particularly in the PET CTs. And recommendations are important. So there's often a debate that should the radiologist recommend or not recommend. And clearly, they want recommendations from us, at least when it comes to radiology related findings. So, for example, if an incidental ovarian cyst is seen, we should recommend what to do, what is the follow-up required, and at what time point. Or if we want to recommend a biopsy, it's something we should recommend. So recommendations are important, and most of the people really appreciated the recommendations. But my main take-home point is this line, which was there in the AJR article in the discussion. It appears that radiologists in general have conceptually grasped the benefits of structured reporting, but are hesitant to adopt structured reporting in their daily routine. I think gradually over time, we will see more and more institutes and centers adopting structured reporting, because ultimately radiology is about communication. If the referring physician or our customer thinks that the report is more readable in a structured format, then we should be doing that. Personalized medicine and personalized radiology is growing to be the norm. And perhaps the best way for us to proceed is to carry out a similar survey in our own practice and adapt our reports accordingly. So, for example, if a subspecialist or a super specialist wants a structured report, give them structured reports. If a general physician perhaps wants a free text report, give them a free text report. But carry out a similar survey in your practice amongst your group of referring physicians, and individualize reports accordingly. You can have a simple Google survey or even like a simple conversation to understand what they want. And I think that would be a great way forward. Um, Ending with this photograph of 3-year-old tigers taken at Ranthambore National Park in Rajasthan last month. Thanks a lot for your patient listening.